So, by way of introduction, Diana's someone who recently kind of connected with because she's passing through Boston and I'm kind of like diving in. So it's been really cool to go to some readings together, and just really honored that she's here to read with you guys. So let's take it away. Let's do it.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much, Chris. Please, steal my seat. Yeah, so I'm Diana Arterian. I am so grateful to Chris for letting me be the mystery reader. And, you know, I think, like many of us, it can feel difficult to kind of have a sense of permission for poetry, even though it is Poetry Month, because of everything that is happening in the world, both known and unknown. And so I figured I would start with a quotation, or like a poem from Fady Judah's new book that he just won a big purse for. And so I'll just read this piece. They did not mean to kill the children. They meant to. Too many kids got in the way of precisely imprecise 1-ton bombs, dropped 1,001 times over the children's nights. They will not forgive the children this sin. They wanted to save them from future sins, or send them wrapped lifetimes of reconstructive surgical hours pro bono, mental anguish to pass down to their offspring. Will the children have offspring? This is what the bomb droppers did not know they wanted, to see if others will be like them after unquantifiable suffering. They wanted to lead their own study, but forgot that not all suffering worships power after survival. What childhood does a destroyed childhood beget? My parents showed me the way. And so it feels powerful and important to share these words right now, and I think kind of this sense of the power of poetry, one of our most ancient artistic forms, though some people say that painting is. So just kind of the idea of like witnessing and work in that way. I'm very sorry to have to read off my phone. I'm going to read just a couple from a couple manuscripts that are actually getting published next year. I'm really excited to say. Yeah, it feels good. 2025. So the first is, and I also don't really do banter in between my poems. So
come on.
I know I'm not good at it though. It's more fun to front load. So I front load my banter. So the first book is coming out with Northwestern, and it's called Agrippina the Younger, who was essentially this ancient Roman historical figure known for mostly the men to whom she was related or married. So she was Caligula's sister, she was Nero's mother, Claudius's niece and wife, creepily. And so kind of I became increasingly obsessed with her. And the way that I found out about her, I actually don't even remember exactly, but this first poem is kind of like the first fact that I learned about her that made me fall into the rabbit hole of her life. So I'm going to just read a few of these and then from another project. Agrippina the Younger. Nero had her cut down, the middle to see, the womb that formed him. And as he peered in the cleft, that exposed organ began to pedal outward, growing and deepening to an enormous vagina, until he looked in. He saw only darkness, so he burned prisoners in his garden for light and shut her up behind a large carving. Her remnants quietly broke off, moving into Nero, Piso, Vindex, Galba. So there were hauntings and blood and exile and suicide. Nero shucked sea urchins, plucked songs on his lyre, and she continued to grow until she held all of Rome, which burned and was rebuilt, while it tessellated, fanned, and Agrippina smiled with her mouth of bloody eye teeth. Why is this not? Sorry, I'm again having to use my phone, so. This is called The Palatine Hill. I walked the Palatine Hill for some hours, the sun beginning to heat, then moved to a bench under a large umbrella pine, brown dull needles snapping. I try to see what Agrippina saw, smell the needles, hear beetles or crickets sounding like rock carving into rock, or reeds, wood. The trees may be different tree types, the birds maybe, but the path's the same, the stones, the hotness. A woman close by carries a long, thin banner of wilted fabric. Walking backward, she calls information to those who follow. Agrippina the Younger became the Empress of Rome after tricking her uncle into marrying her and adopting her son. She murdered her uncle later. And I smile, for how strange that a handful of men define this woman's life narrative, and it continues even after the buildings she moved through have begun to crumble back to the earth. Agrippina, age 5. She sees the trail of gore and follows, finds a small roe deer, arrow almost through the neck. Crouching, she pushes it out, breaks the tip, slips the shaft from the deer as it kicks, weakly. She lifts its head to her lap, strokes between the eyes, cradles the ear with her little hand. Ticks move to the hairless arms, blood pumping out the hole, then less. The breaths more and more shallow. She hums as her mother does the baby. The deer's tongue slips quietly from between its teeth, the girl still, pets as the woods and head grow cold. She eyes the large warm belly, wants to press, massage whatever, out, build a fire beneath so the flesh will open and show. She sees the fire, the fur all blackly twisted, skin splitting, the pink fawn's eye on her. The Palatine Hill. I come here to collapse the disk of time, stand beside her. But these aren't even all her same structures. I look at one in my mind to how she might have passed through an archway, hand grazing a wall, then the placard, 200 years after her death. It all looks ancient to my ignorant eye, and what holds or fails is so arbitrary. Frescoes from 2 millennia ago appear fresh. A large, relatively young marble building, mere nubs and dirt, with a dark sign beside explaining its once being. Then there was the taking of stones from one thing to another, the huge copper statue thrashed to pieces for valuable reuse. The many sackings of Rome brought fire and blood, but amazingly raised little. I learn what survives best is buried. What is buried continues to resurface. With each dig for a subway line, more. After excavation, a little metal gate at its lip so you can peer. Cats are quick to move in. This city built, torn, built over, so every scene thoroughly changed from her lifetime. I can never see her visions, a strange wanting, this continual dance of nearly but not, sapping me. It's so hot and dusty here that the moment I return to my rented space, I fling my shoes and sud my feet up to my knees with soap. Prone under the couch with cool air, I think of the ancient cave found in France, the rock where cave people stubbed out torches. The carbon is dark as if just done, though from over 30,000 years ago. Then the engraving found in a cave in South Africa dated over twice that long. I think, as a white American especially, this amount of time passed is outside of what I can hold in my head. To get to human-made structures where I grew up, you must drive through hours of desert, scramble down dirt paths into canyons to see. And I have done this, seen ancient indigenous people's homes under cliffs, their hieroglyphs bigger than me. Most are riddled with bullet holes. As a child, I found a flat place with countless arrowheads glinting. I held some, seeing the chips and glassy rock by hand so long ago, and I left them behind as is respectful. The oldest object I ever touched that wasn't a land formation was when I somehow went on a paleontological dig in New Mexico as a 12-year-old, everyone else scientists and intrigued non-scientist adults. One paleontologist guided us through the more hard scrabble fossil finding. We hunkered on a small mound of thumb-sized rocks. He lifted one, explained it was a fossil and what to look for, how to try to find the broken piece. I scanned and picked one, holding it out like this, and he took it, holding the knob onto the other in his hand, and it fit so perfectly. With his surprise at my quickness, he only managed, "Yup." A few days later, I held a brown horn brought out from the dirt. I think this might be the last one I read from this. Agrippina, age 13. And this is her wedding to Nero's father. Oh, I know, that was a party. Domitius gives her iron. Agrippina fingers it under her robes, while slaves weave her hair with flowers. Place gold on her neck and wrists. She thinks of the man older than her father ever was. At the ceremony, a pregnant sow is brought forward, dark and wreathed in leaves. Wine, crumbs from holy cake are dusted on its brow. For the goddess Ceres, for Terra Mater, for this marriage. A man raises his axe, blunt side down, strikes the sow, slices the stunned animal's throat, opens her belly. The priest pushes fetal piglets aside, handles the entrails close to his eyes, looking for flaws. Another man places the insides on an altar for burning. Domitius watches Agrippina while the men butcher the pig, char the guts. She does not look away. The priest steps into the blood, face covered, prays in whispers, a flute drowning out any ominous sounds. So the other thing I was going to read from is a co-translation. I feel like eating a walnut before reading was a really... It's like, anyway, now I've learned. I've done a co-translation of this contemporary Afghan poet named Nadia Anjuman with an Afghan woman and scholar named Marina Omar. And so this is coming out next year with World Poetry Books. I'm just going to read a couple of these. Peace. Temptations stain my solitude. Disasters ruin the face of my life. Am I an open riverbed, endlessly flooded by the storm of misfortunes? If my eye longs to hold dreams, worry steps into sleep's road. What can I do? My heart is woe's bed. All members of that tribe who find it linger there. I run, searching for a quiet path, but fate hatefully lengthens my way. Last night I dreamed of my grave and was at peace, that place where one can rest without dread. Poison. That night, the scorpions gathered in secret. A fierce argument went on for hours, the subject injecting poison into bodies of knowledge. In choosing that poison, they couldn't reach a verdict. Suddenly, from the group, the ugliest of them all loosed his tongue like a sword and said, "The night is passing. There is no time for delay. While our prey have their eyes closed, rise and find a point to sting. I have inherited an ancient jar of deadly venom from my ancestors. Now I'm the generous one who will pass it on." I think this will be the last one I read from Anjuman. A story. When they glimpsed my silvery fortune, jealously they stole from me, kidnapped my horse, chased me with no shame. Ugh, that gang of cheats and frauds who laughed at my innocence. They slammed every door in my face, set daggers on every window. When I opened an eye, they hammered in white-hot nails. When I bled, they turned wolf and drank. Thousands of blades in my one body, vein by vein, they cut at my life. Why shackle my pen? They knew it never strayed. Why clip the budding smile from the small garden of my lips? Why were they such brutal enemies? Perhaps they were a scorpion horde. After ravaging my spirit, they slipped blissfully. The skies grew fitful with the fumes of my torment. Thunder boomed, and the clouds roared, their chests bursting with lightning. The pillars of the earth shook, and the party woke up, panicked, then froze, stunned. Their four walls fell to the ground. My eyes rained, easing my pain, and at my hope's dying breath, the clouds gave it life. This is I, she who speaks. If only those thieves could see me now. And I just wanted to finish with a very, very short poem from Hafez that I have been thinking about in these times. And it's called A Great Need, and it's translated by Daniel Ladinsky. Out of a great need, we are all holding hands and climbing. Not loving is letting go. Listen, the terrain around here is far too dangerous for that. Thank you.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, giving me shivers. So, next up, Steffon Alexander Fynes. As he recently got that. You guys like brothers of the middle name? Like does that happen every day, right? You got two conquerors. Yeah.
Oh man.
Steffon, what can I say? This is a man that, when did we start doing the Sunday ritual where you come upstairs and we put the tea on and you tell me like everything that happened at school that week?
like a year or two ago, bro.
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
Like literally around this time, I think a year or two ago.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And it was this thing. First, it was like 7 to 8.
Yeah.
Pretty soon, it was like 7 to like 11.
Oh.
Just putting records on and talking about Edgar Allan Poe or whatever Max was up to, or you know, often a craziness at school, and then on my side, craziness at home. So it was and then I found out that Steffon had done like performance poetry, and we started. You were curious because I had a couple poetry books. It was really, we started like getting into that, and it's just been really cool to like bring him up to different microphones. I guess this is the second microphone.
Yeah, second one.
So everyone from Bahamas by way of Queens, by way of Bed-Stuy, Steffon Fynes.
Thank you very much. Yeah. I have to read from the phone. So, like you said, I'm from the Bahamas, and this is from a collection I had to write for a school project in college, but it's nothing like home. Just so the story of an immigrant adjusting to the United States and fighting with both identities is fun. So let's see how this goes. Oh, island, my peace, my home. Aqua waters and golden sands. I once rested my head on your shores. Now I sit on a city bench, miles away from your sunrise. I speak of memories of home. Church school on Saturdays. My walks through the graveyards of forgiven and lost souls. Guava duff after Sunday dinner. Crack conch on Saturdays if you were lucky. Junk canoe on Boxing Day and New Year's, and soca music during the week. A mix of rap and R&B, but on Sundays, only soul on 104.5. Trips to the beach usually began with the same words. Don't bring no sand in my car. With bottles of salt water to rinse your feet. Buying fritters from along Fort Montague. How you walked. That sideways bop that we thought was cool. How you spoke. That meant that. Tree meant 3 and tree. Bori meant borrow. Gurn meant going. And a junglist was a girl you didn't bring home to your mama. See, Babuki and Barabi told your stories. And Ronnie Butler sang your hymns. Chippy drummed your heartbeat. My mother gave me stories and history lessons of the family and myself. Things were simpler. You went to the docks. You got your fish. Yellowtail snappers, Bahamian groupers, jacks, strawberry rockfish. While the fishermen tried to trick you into believing that all the fish was fresh. But we knew better. We timed when the boats came in. I have watched your sunset of crystal waters, setting the clouds ablaze. Brought peace to my soul. A memory I try hard to hold on to, here, on this park bench. Now, if you have an immigrant mother, you learn a few things from her. They don't trust Americans. See, Americans is trouble. And when you are this close from being sent home, from being in the wrong spot, you learn to listen to her sometimes. So this one's called American Friends. Don't hang with those Americans. They have nowhere to go. If they get in trouble and you be with them, you won't be stateside no more. Don't hang with those Americans. They cuss and have no manners. Parents didn't raise them like I raised you, so they live below our standards. Don't bring home no American girl. She will break you and bring you pain. But mama, I know some Bahamian girls who will gladly do the same. See, don't hang with those Americans. They bring you down, you see. But mama, who else you expect me to be friends with? If they all I see around me. My mama makes it seem as if every bad thing Americans were to blame. I realize for myself, in many ways, we are all the same. We cry, we read, we all have dreams. But for mama, there ain't nothing but trouble. And that wasn't gonna change. That's my American friends. So, things change in life. I realize a whole lot more, and as an adult, you begin to write a whole lot more about the things that you have to look right in the mirror of, and sometimes the things you don't really want to see when you look in the mirror. Right? About a few years ago, my mother passed away, so all these legends, these stories, comes from her. Right? So, in the process, I met Chris a lot of years later, and he got me back into writing because I didn't put my pen to paper since she passed. Probably even since my son was born, didn't have time, tried to ignore it. So, but you always remember the things you do with your mama. So, you see, lions stand as lions. So that's where this poem is named. Took me to see Lion King, a date at Shirley Street. You, me, a bucket of popcorn, soda, small pack of Skittles, hot dog. Sticky ground under our seats where soda stains became syrup, and to question how long it's been there would be dangerous. The lions roared as the Pride Lands welcomed the prince. We sang along as he couldn't wait to be king, knew we weren't prepared for the scars that were soon to come, and held back tears when Mufasa died. You didn't look to see if I was crying. Watching steadily, you found your son. Your son found himself when his love found him. Lost himself and broken hearts pushed him to question everything, his God, his worth, his soul. Watching and praying that the demons that chase him don't catch him, and knowing that he will leave the pride and return a man. Well, you hoped so. Are you still watching? Maybe. Sat back with my son to watch Lion King. Wooden floors and scattered toys. A gray beat-up couch we no longer have. And to ask where it is now is dangerous. The lions roared as the Pride Lands welcomed the prince. Wasn't prepared to face the scars of losing you. Held back tears so he wouldn't look and ask why. You see, for lions don't shed tears in the pack. We walk back to the mountaintop and we roar. So, that's one. And with all fun, poets always are the greatest people to be around, I believe. You don't have to know them that well. You could just meet them. But once you share the bond of poetry, things flow like water. So on a night when the poets march, always a beautiful thing to see. So Attack on Mars had to take place. Humid summer nights mark the walk of poets. With simple dive bars our final destination, eating on saturated fatted chips, shouting our conversations so our words reverberate in the echoes of our memory. I'm always amazed that in these half-hazed moments, the smallest event can return us to the tween points in our lives, where the red flashing lights of the pinball machine and the buzz of the twirl compartments and levers were the only thing that mattered, and high scores were the highlights of the Americana dream. Because you knew that each bang of the pinball meant you prevented an alien from crossing the border or invading our American dream. The dream we bought into. Soak up the 80s music that reminds you of Walkmans and cassette tapes. The first and only time your brother gave you his Walkman to play LL Cool J cassette tape, I Need Love. Shopping malls where food courts were the locations for your first dates and Sbarro's was expensive food. Bike rides lasted until the street lights came on, and stray dogs were the last of your worries. Street Fighter arcades lined game rooms, and Dazzlem's elephants mixed with the tea-pellet sounds of Pac-Man, creating a soundtrack of the evening. Perfect! Take it all in. Take it all on as the small moments crash against the psyche of the present, allowing you to hope that the attack on Mars was 100% worth it. So, in love and in loss, you question what you would do when the times come. So when it comes, hopefully you make the right decision. But it's harder to make it once the responsibilities of life hit you. So if you lose the one next to you to something you cannot control, what do you do? Sat down and wrote about it. So what will happen to me when you are gone? And I no longer feel the warmth of your body next to mine, smell the olive and coconut of your hair, or the soul of your voice. Will I follow it into the dying light, where hell awaits me if I make that decision? Wasted it would be, for I would not see your face. Or will I stay, honor my son, live and let love, heal, live and let me die slowly? I hope to never find out. Call me selfish. I hope to be the first to go, whispered away to the heavens itself, being the interceding between you and God. See, this is my love poem, where darkness meets something. Reality of light, love of lost loves, and I hope to never see the day of the shadow of your silhouette created by the TV screen to remind me that you are something the Lord made, no longer lays beside me when I sleep. Because at that point, maybe I will. So, question I ask next is, what do the life givers need more than any other thing? What do the people who give the most life need more? Right? We are supposed to be the strong ones all the time. So what do we need the most? It's usually the things some people don't think about. My friend asked me where to find God. And I told him, look in the mirror. For in every ounce of your being you reflect Him. From thought, word, and deed, and sacrifices made, you may not have given your life, but you damn sure saved mine. I'll give you a second to reflect. Like you haven't stood out in the light, sunlight lighting your skin, showcasing every good work you have done, a tapestry for the saints outlining your love in the works as you humbly wait a seat at the head of their table. I dare you to deny the God in you, for me to shower you with all the reminders that you embody Him. He asked me, how will I make it today? I told him by walking into a future determined by the work of his past. The scars of overworked hands calloused by holding us 10 feet up as he stood 10 toes down. The nights of thoughts racing and feet pacing, of prayers for a family not yet known, that he would be a better better than his father, which meant never missing a birthday or a basketball game. The family curse that he broke the minute he said I do and refused to leave when it got hard. I told him, you made every day look so easy that today would be no different. But maybe that was the problem. The ones who make it look so easy never have a shoulder to rest their head, because they are the shoulders. Like Superman told Lois when fighting Doomsday, I am the cavalry. We don't hear the silent soundtrack. The record playing on the radio repeating rancid recollections of realities running rampant, reverberating in the recesses of his mind, making him responsible for the irreconcilable problems of the world. I wonder how many times someone gave him a hallelujah, a helping hands, hugs, home-cooked meals like Grandma gave you when you went to visit on weekends, holy places where the word became flesh and wisdom was served on paper plates and plastic cups. Come take a seat. Because even life-givers need life spoken into you to remind you that you are divinely made in soul and body. Because even if your eyes can't see it, you're seen. So, from everything, we usually work backwards. We work forward, right? You always get to the end. But I like going back to the start. If you was to watch the start of the universe with someone, who would it be? What would they say to you when you reach there? Right? So let's go back to the start. Start at the point where words are void of shape and meaning, where ideas do not crystallize to shape the universe, where there was no end to the beginning. It is there I will find you, wise-eyed and broken-smiled, where teeth slowly breaks through lips, to be greeted with a nod of the brim and a wicker chair as you rock with slight approval. We'll watch as it all unfolds, as thought leads to colliding atoms, neutrons, protons, electrons, formulating and destroying time after time till something whole is made. The question would not be why. That we both know more or less. But of how you are doing, that you heard my silent tears, and watched as I moved forward on stony ground to see your face again at the start. Thank you all.
All right, Steffon, man. So glad you made it up here. So good to be, sharing this room with all of you guys. And yeah, Rachelle, I've known Rachelle for a while now, and it's been great, to listen to her poetry evolve. And, in a way, I guess I have to make this, leak length. I'm just thinking, okay, all right, I'm going to figure that out. So Rachelle, right? The first time I saw Rachelle, I think I may have gone into the anthology when you were working there and not really encountered you yet, but we might have crossed. I've taken a ticket. Who knows? It's because I went there a lot at that time. But anyway, it was Monday night, right? Open mic night at St. Mark's Poetry Church. And I was kind of this is the only way I'm going to get to read there. So I was I had my 2 minutes prepared. I went in there, and it was a mixed crowd. You had some gray beards. I should joke about that. These old dudes that are had Key Foods bag with envelopes, pieces of paper, some furry old used books, and they're they all tried to read longer, Yeah. And there were a couple of college kids who were just really nervous, and I was all right, I'm just gonna read my poem. And I was feeling nonplussed. I was kind of St. Mark's, these guys are such a country club. Why can't I get in? Or what are they really? They're like a cool kids club. It's like an Archie magazine, right? Like, yeah, I'm on the other side. I'm like, what's that guy's name who wears the crown all the time? I'm Jughead here. So I go in there, but then I'm quickly distracted from all of my like inner tormented megalomania because I see this person in a red velvet suit with like a silk like blouse, if I recall correctly, and I'm like, what? Like, I'm like, somebody like just wandered from the fringes of the 71 Paris commune into this, like, there's like a time warp in the like black box theater upstairs and something, you know, the teletransporter of Derek Parfit. Anyway, I'm like, holy cow. And then she takes all these little pieces of paper, like, and reads, and I'm just like completely captivated by what she read. I was like, this is so good. Like, they were like these different propositions that didn't build from the other ones. So it was like little lines coming out, little collage midair. You were very serious. And I was like, that's good, you know? Rocking the suit, very serious. Poems are beautiful. I was a little intimidated, but like I went up afterwards and I was like, you got to come read in my poetry series that I was doing in Brooklyn. And then she did, and then gradually, like, when I got to read, they'd be like, do you and someone else, do you want to? And I'd be like, yeah, I want Rachelle. Like, a number of times we did. That's sort of how we stayed in touch, was, you know, every time I could bring her on, I did. And then I don't think that I deserve any credit for this at all, but Rachelle, like, was doing experimental music and film, and just, she still does. She's very talented at those. But then I think recently, you told me a couple summers ago, like, I'm doing poetry now, like, you know, as like a main thing, and it's been so amazing to just witness all of this. I'm humbled by it, and it's great to have Rachelle in my new house, you know, I'm starting to feel good about, and love you, Rachelle. Come up, read. It's going to be awesome.
Thanks, Chris. And I'd just like to add that it's true, and all those years, I would only read for Chris. So I would read once a year when Chris would ask me as I was developing my work, to a point where I wasn't humiliated by it. But, and not to say that when we get up here and read as poets, we think like, okay, this is good, so that's why I'm reading it to you. It's just, you know, what I have and where I'm at. And it's true what Chris said, that I'm just keep doing it. Keep going with it. So, and it is cool. Like, I feel nervous. It's almost like you guys are the shining faces in a room of like a lot of people or something. You are the shining faces that are kind of coming out of the crowd. Anyhow,
There's a lot of souls on the wall.
So these poems are in various stages of being finished. Some are more finished than others, like, and so I'm just going to read them. And Tenaya, I'm going to try to skip the ones that you heard recently.
Okay. Don't have to. It's a special delivery.
Okay. This one is called Topiary, and it's one of those crystal egg ones that's been finished. But I wanted to start with it because it still discusses issues that concern me to this day. Topiary. I've rearranged everything here, hung the quote by the vase, watered the plants. Lunch is on. I'm talking to myself. I made a fantastic joke, but no one laughed. Communication problematizes essence. We all know what something is really before we have to say, when I know who you are, when your mouth is closed, tombs open, linear histories, fold, get close, that was then. This is called When the Parade Chimes Freedom. So another Poets Go Marching. What happens when that occurs? Okay. When the parade chimes freedom. You do something useful by collecting subjects for the soft-grained human anthill. It is the opposite of murder. The book often outlasts the life. Evasive boundlessness swinging from an ear, pledging that will always change. Made certain by dialogue and time alone. Specious case made for my page on your lap. Both change in common. What endeavors to blow past or dwell discursive, erasing a few decades of progress, risen cyclone. Stragglers vary with the wind's howl. City plans on the architect's desk bracket the catastrophe transposed in each bargain. On top rests the last pressed form that fell. Never as cumulative a result as could rest. Infrastructure tiresome when the air does not go to meet you. Bent corners, the joint binds, one and one, on aerial heights, though not in the same breath as we sink into background. This one is called Redshift for Allah. It's in lieu of banter, I'm just going to read the poem. Redshift for Allah. Where do you go, Father, when you disappear for years? Where do you go when you sweat, when you shake? Was my introversion gained in the early loss of my breath and beat? In the hands of the crowd, in their farce, in their force? Where were you, getting high while I die? This one is called Protest in Orison. I was watching our shadows, hybrid, poetic, often abundant, on the white wall, literary, visual, auditory, textual, as we fucked in a dim hour, as often light on my hands, in external 20th, 21st recurring. Total absorption. Motivations ended by cleaning the typewriter, taking off the margin bar. The house stagnates easily, changing things around to avoid this otherwise okay. The margin bar comes off completely. It only had one screw new and the other loose, locking up the entire mechanism. Off with its margins, off with her soda head. This is why Spicer suggests we wait or you might get stuck with a bad poem on your hands. I do everything in the small old rice cooker, glitchy, stew, fried, egg, coffee, and tea. Absolve it, prepare it for rice. To change seems like a god to me. Attention gods, the car battery could make God laugh. Whiskey, one-eyed, asking me to ask myself, should I take it, wanting long to let go, waiting enough. All was numb, and taking it in the haunts. A procession I followed, puppeted by force. Happy master from below situates me above, grounded just as onlookers in light make smoke of you, erasure writing. This is part of the Involution series, but the only one I've been reading so far, called Involution number 1. I don't want to make poetry out of the horror. I want to tell it like it is. I don't want to make it beautiful. It is ugly. I don't want to have empathy for the monster. Do I have a right to this? Will you read it? Does it have to be a song? Does it have to be audible? Will it always be poetry? Is it ethical? Is what I know best always best? Have I shined the apple for so long that all I see is myself? The occasional cigarette, the occasional lay, the occasional beer, the occasional poet, the occasional web, the occasional ripple, the occasional solace, the occasional kiss, the occasional art, the occasional full moon, the occasional passing car, the occasional tale, the occasional season with a number, the occasional loss, the occasional storm, the occasional algorithm, the occasional sync, the occasional fantasy, the occasional match, the occasional jazz, the occasional suicide, the occasional slut, the occasional critic, the occasional meal, the occasional reading, the occasional window, the occasional sparrow, the occasional drift, the occasional nil. Thoughts are common, books are common, kindness is common, hatred is common, mail is common, television is common, bathing is common, dressing is common, light is common, night is common, time is common, sleep is common. This poem doesn't have a title, but it is dedicated to our friend Katie, who always gives at least me shit. So, don't even fucking loll at my drink. We're 4-2. Thus, this isn't Glasgow, and we're not going on and onyx to get by way of pool. Cheap players, friendships made to last that lack those things she thought were supposed to improve a real happiness in the sense of life's meaning. Disabused migrations, perhaps I do have my mind on other things, perhaps I do dream poorly, that I liked Tongo's comments on art, do it better, and sounds can frighten me, and I am animal, that I liked Tongo's comments on diet, it's no Lucretius fruit, it's bloodthirst sugar, that I was born to the sound of bombs, perhaps I shouldn't be driving, I am distracted by the moon, moving water, carnivals, bikers, mistrust with most persons in groups, severely open to strangers, subject poetry, denial. I am distracted by song, I sing, perhaps the present is not to be mentioned. There is no box to check for anyone's kind mistrust. They don't want anyone better than they are, nor do canned superlatives. That my attitude needs a job. We call this feeding hour, as close and dark as you can. Man can be wolf to God. If it isn't either or, then neither. Every permanent hold and gun barrel in my countries, their coastal dismay. Don't forget the mass holes, how I'm going to break it. Perhaps the dream is over and you own nothing and are fully owned. Sometimes the Easter egg is rotten. I won't. This poem is called Approbation, though someone has suggested I call it Spinal Tap. What are we having tonight? I couldn't respond because I didn't know. I have nothing to lose but a remote possibility. We're glad. I, for one, know we've had our ups and downs. We'll take, and to drink. I'd just stay in bed all day otherwise. We need a motivating factor. That's why we need to discuss what we're going to do. What are we having tonight? We need to divide things in equal parts. I made a pre-investment. That's why we need to discuss what we're going to do. Well, I'm having, and I'm going to have. Can we have? Certainly. Are we ready to order? I'll have the same. I'll have, and we'll have one of everything. We'll take. One of the subjects I really like in poetry is cars and driving. I drive around a lot, so it just happens that cars come up. This is called Wi-Fi DNA, which I wrote walking. Walking. Wi-Fi DNA. Yellow lines on the cement and bits of old blackened gum. Buildings still for sale. Chicks hanging out, having a drink. I forgot it's Friday, in which the officers plan to be out and armed. No beer in that deli. I walk in and out. They're probably used to that. People in life go on. They say we're creating more trash. That's impossible, fake, What? There's no more movies, no more ushers sweeping up popcorn, collecting abandoned drinks and candy, sometimes a minibar bottle. No more theme park slushy, greasy, powdered plates of stale funnel cake. It's none of that garbage. Impossible fake, so it seems. Brushes pushing away yesterday's ashes, detailing the Audi RS6, washing it caressingly with soft bristled paint brushes and non-abrasive suds. A triangle of concrete bombarded with yellow rays, one brimming with grasses. And I'll end with this poem called Models for Peace. How quickly it burned up and was gone, in that order. They imagined they'd once crash-landed on this planet. Year 1 burned up, and year 2 was the afterburn. No chance in reversing its dispersal. Its definitive usage must be access to the atmosphere, an incident to caress, profound and dignified, changing amplifications to hear the innards, where you get really beautiful in summer. 1508 East Helen Street, bootlegs or bust. Find the wailing words hiding somewhere, taking leaps at certain gratitudes and also feeling shy, which means put out by myself, as the white dress in my dream makes fronds of them. Resistance to any action at all, the projects taking over life. I connect them to my subconscious. I only know 3 ways to access it. Art, production, bibliomancy, sex, very specific acts just for brainstorming as it relates to problem solving, not shopping, not driving. How close is too close? How many degrees of separation are adequate for a lasting, making things substantial? How drab in that break of a year? Fall away, dash it to smithereens, always big display. Can't keep track of my dream where someone said I'd be dead soon. It didn't faze me. It's a spiritual journey. Being there appears to be a spiritual connection. On which deck to play it was so sad, making sex promises, getting a little too afterthoughtful, actual thought where I no longer, where from, was it good? You look good like that, very sphinx-like, came with rings to spare. Thank you.
Yeah. That was amazing. I haven't heard you read for a little while. So it's a great pleasure. Definitely. Thrill. And Tilghman, I think that I kind of stalked you a little bit because I got the book, the Western that Vladimir, is that his name? Victor Vladimir. He sent out from 1080 Press. Oh yeah, got to do the leak duration.
I'm listening. I'm grabbing the chair.
Oh, okay, cool. So so Tilghman, I had no idea who he was. I hadn't met him, seen him read or anything. But if you know 1080 Press, if you get on their mailing list, they'll start sending you free stuff. And they sent a free book. They sent me a free book by Tilghman, and I was like, this is like fucking great. I love this. I had to stop everything I was doing and just read the whole book. And then I was like, Tilghman, let's hang out. so I did. I was like, hey, what's up? So we met at some cafe in Ridgewood and we talked, and he was telling me about living in Mexico City, living in Europe, tutoring children and literature, all different kinds of literature. And I was like, yeah, this guy's awesome. So here he is, in my living room. And it's such a great thing. I love this economy where, people move around, and just really, really glad you're here. And I was talking to Tenaya, so I know a little bit that he mentioned that the two of you have been collaborating since October 7th.
Yeah, we started the first one, I think, over the summer. We did a first collaboration over the summer, and then we were like, oh, we should do that again. And then October 7th, we started doing, we've been kind of going since then.
Yeah. So like a dialogue in the face of like, it can be very atomizing, I think.
Yeah, I
'Cause
think
people
that
are
was. I think that was part of it. It was just like, all right, yeah, it's like, why stimulate all yourself if you got friends?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I have a couple friends that I've ended up having long phone calls with, I think, for the same necessary purpose. So tonight we're just not going to use the mic for this. You guys are just gotta get one last thing. Okay, I've got it. Okay. All right.
You can't perform
Stories?
if you have to go to the
How
bathroom.
do you know tonight?
From
I
today.
missed everything you said about Tilghman.
Oh, yeah. I'll take you aside later. I'll just regale you. Tillman's an awesome corresponding, and we met like once, and I'm just really happy I get to hang out with him after this, you know. I want to just tell you guys that I'm very happy that you're here in my home, because I went through some times, as Steffon knows, in Brooklyn during COVID where rightfully, you know, people were pretty scared. You know, people are wearing their masks. They're kind of hustling around. It wasn't like a great time to stop a stranger on the corner for a conversation, right? It was kind of, yeah. So just a little bit of paranoia. I think there's still paranoia. People are making movies about Civil War in America, and there's some pickup trucks that come through this neighborhood that are entirely too large. Like, what could anyone do? Like, I don't understand it. But it's great to be here among the contingent with the windows open in the neighborhood, and you know, not be afraid that a knock on the door means that there's like a cop out there, or, you know, knock wood, but you know, it's a pretty safe neighborhood actually. But I'm just saying, you know, I like opening the doors. I'm so glad that I opened them today and you guys came in, and I'm psyched to hear
That's how we
your
met.
collaboration. That's how we met. So yeah, take it away. There's water here if you need it.
Oh, you need to say anything?
You saw
Thanks, Chris, for having us. Thanks for letting us crash later tonight. Yeah, thanks everybody for being here. Thanks for reading. Like, it's kind of a beast. It's kind of crazy. Rachelle, thanks for reading. Wait, you also read at the cave, right?
We were in the cave this summer. September.
That was
Like
the
an
thing.
actual cave, not a place called the cave.
No, it was a
Okay.
cave. It was a defense mine. Yeah, I remember because I was like, oh, fuck up. I'm not on after Rachelle. And then I wasn't, so it was cool. And then now we are. It's kind of fucked up. Let's go. It's makes me want to get. I think that's it. Are we still Gautier?
No, not today.
Not today. Who are we today?
We could be Gautier. We're Gautier. That's our band name. We're working on a band name right now.
Gautier?
Yeah. Yesterday was really funny.
Oh wait, can we be Sade?
We can be Sade.
Today we're Sade. We're Sade.
Right.
Nice. Smooth operation.
This is more like a Sade audience.
This is more
Last
Sade.
night's
Last night
audience
was
was
very
really
Gautier. That was very Gautier. This is definitely more Sade. Cool.
People descending like the pulp of your mouth, what science fiction but the kind containing yours, picking at it nothing friskier, child understanding nothing but ample grace, in no language beautiful as yours, dream rightful murder on the Mizrahim, own metal straw 5 mile long, 4 milkshake, no water reach and wash.
A knocking, open the gates, the portal door entry and point of egress, 3 speakers plus baby as a symbol, purple wrapped and winged. Father pink spider capped with twists. Undecided whiner shriek from void as sperm spore. Green dust eye itcher. I am understanding Armstrong. Finds extent of empathy. And trying to beware at catching the self-righteous beyond and above it. Seated indoor comfortable. Full belly timeline tugged. Yanked by moist wet libidinal.
Folded in half for touching sun pleasure. Make meat missed immediately before clockin' causin' vacant stare, eye drip cradled, white leather rich brown shade mockin' organ, joined by blue butter whipped from open face fridge, haint like projection confined to quarters unkempt, laid up looped, dooming, draining, dopamine bars, foot grazes sandy floor, clustered in mouthed cherries.
Waiting for Staten Island Ferry, making sugar castles, half-touching, tried to unfocus laminar value, feeling like the timeshares, XL windows, diamond arms of wet threads, sent to a fundamental law of self-soothing behavior for royalties, come charity, taking re-experienceable loss, rib crawl concretize, clad como artist, a con man, a costume, slip out of skin, change scenes, adopt new name.
Foot drag, fulcrum, momentum, bring to ground, brick stained clothes, no sympathy for cocoa cake. Virga and downdrafts, posture, another tragedy. Jaundiced drones colliding in the sky, starry hills beneath the rotten panel, and spark of guns that seemed without direction. At night, cheap, indelible marks, mists of Gibran's art.
Pasty pool, dry wiping Sisyphean tears from dumb things said, plowing through a crowd with the extras, clean electric plastic glasses, mimic obsidian discs, smoking mirror return to space, open field, several four-wall tri-corner, crescent keyhole, viewed raw kickback laser-like, lifting, fluttering, growing feathers, same 24 new eyes, language spoken, given gift of language spoken, spin 6 1/2 hours, skip 900 clips, leave and eat seafood beef.
Sauce cream, martini vodka, too much mouth, waterfront top-down sequin cathedral hung from hood of ivy, dogwood and shady willing. Follow the money to its point of departure, tell mothers and soldiers. Found new uniform, 10 times T over with whatever am wearing, couched waiting on spinning fish to vibrate body, melt walls, glorious skin, free blue on inside, like some kind of lightning vapor touch, cross room, raise break cloud.
Jump off ground, touch stem and see if heated. Could probably stand few more seconds, 6 hours, 42 minutes, stretched over 180 days or so. Leaves nice undefined gelatinous mass, puff jiggly, when cool. Sweet treat, packaged plastic, dim and digidark. Fueling chin-lit supplicants, taking word stamps empty, warm, safe fed.
Room well lit, 6 pairs north window, 1 light green, 18, 20 springtime clouds, cover space, black sock blue with blue stripe, back floating, long puffed, bruised, cankerous.
Habit of crushing grip, breaking bone and big toe, make it hard to hobble continuous fluid motion, give dusk roads over cuneiform guns in childhood. Avant-gardes are non-indexical. What will it be? It shall be the day that bass keys split the resonance.
Earthbound ghost moans a living, message in layering, quantity, duration, shared memory, a shouts in distance, wave crash against ship creek, spell on water turn you different, whale mouth wormhole through beast's belly, inner workings wet, sweaty grind crushing with raw strength and acid, seeing hazmats between the houses, looking at the U's surreal.
Apprehending the man with the dirty wrapper at the edge of the tracks who discarded its crumbs into already littered. Strategy to cite his attitude an officer. Want to follow with her mind made up after. See a sense of irony. This is all that's realistic.
Hasn't been the politics, naming heart of hearts. Can't fit macro to the psychic scale. Plus my lumbar says block. It's real cathexis. Esfandier, why do we dream so blonde a cloth of cloud? I have resigned from volunteering the present at present. Blondes fix the cables of our feeling.
Halakhic of the unsaid, who flicker, drumskin, buzzer, plus ancient Phrygian, eyes in the remit of brinksmanship, a composite foreignness. I gotta talk to you. I'll go and you'll go to any west-facing window. Maybe all of it's real. I haven't slept. Don't like that tone when you say I'm trying to engage, like with a stranger who knows my name. Some other additional hidden forbidden might be uncovered. Chance to play, explore, consummate conquistador fantasies.
Information domination, taking advantage of simple natives. Look, it also got a calculator. I'll tell you for a reins. No more guesswork, just let me attach the stem. Look off into the corner, expecting speech, taunted by tadpoles. Left card at Punjab Delhi. It's so, air quote, natural to dehumanize.
But by daylight, well, they cut babies' heads. I put a new temple on the ruins. They stacked an arms race they couldn't lose. It's dehumanizing to normalize our natures. They don't lack that softness which makes us. God, it's our neighbors. He doesn't communicate with me at all. I'm racked along the violence of his sinner.
He says no God but God. He says free Palestine.
Found and shone, there is no other. Consciousness, total and holy. Scent, memory, gut calculation. Nipponese bubbles, long blonde tiny drawings. Pink, white pinstripe with matching Windsor. Double queen gold, left buzzing door. Oh, to be born anew. Bequeathed same name. Don't get a do-over. Gotta continue. Kinda determined, no disappearance possible. Save widespread conflagration.
Everybody get knock on the head while they say house flood. Encounter ankle piss and drizzle. Feel him moist wet through seat. Cosmos soak in Mediba cornucopia. Visible dirt remain on exterior. Toasted for flavor, fun consumption. Imported homegrown Kentucky City State. Vatican hot lager. Lip numbed snow on ground.
Peach tongue, salmon pump full of preservatives. Put on pullover ex post protest.
Want to live decent. Fellowship with like-minded humans, on benches, municipals, stuck in empty Eden, primarily temptation, life-size diorama, rendering things as they are, somewhat semi-permanent, same mind made equal opposite to a race, created an industry, demand for product, import-export flood the streets, alphabet-approved blue talk.
Viennese, ego, imperial constructions, crowd, tiny island, massive amanita, make magic in Madison. Orange oblong coursing, thinking 30s, surging wave herd of blue horses, a feeling unlike kind of confrontational conversation with a supposed compatriot, magnet not sinking, rather slow, constant studies scattered.
Goosebumps, wagon hump, best books, got a text, certain, sign, symbol, a barrel screw, perhaps even spigot. Polite ask for cash after the lesson on existence. Cold touch, pink BV. Point orb at Silver Lake. Greet with tender touch.
Smell old beefstock. See God magic wonder comedy. Myopic solips. Eye only on woe betide me. Awash. Searching for Luftballon rotus. Smile behind self. Point finger vulner. Move translucent. Take on mantle. Speak deep gravelly. Nasally husky. A seduction. Drawer dropper. Acid-based homeostasis. Stop short of unconscious thievery. Turn left.
Young Detroit D B-side Wales are you. Full hallucination, no hot water, ice blast sign, flesh sensors on Fritz. Pissin' like a police pant belt. Round waist, YKK high, or a Boris human centipede. Wanna be beside on 2140 and still at 7082. Prince Mercer, sad, rich. Two men on bench nod back and forth forever.
There was sad nigga rich. Sad nigga rich, 2 men on bench nod. Okay, sorry, I had to say. Narrow one word spoken. Edward Albee in a beanie offering ketamine. Hubcap dreamcatcher perched over bird. Crowd crushing the sanctuary. 86 taco little chicken. Sweat under vest and mask tall. Bad look, known as nigga no discipline. Nice to know you, bro. It's a pleasure to see you living. It's a lot of beautiful people.
Finds you superlative in manners spiritual, devotion public, prayer constant, untamed kid monk, finds religion, entrance to MD, welcome by James, I coin pay the ferryman, big head, light skin, leant over, crowned self king, tiny little probiotic, red cap, liquid yogurt, left speed sick at home, drunk mom runs over Rory.
Undead Richmond breathes from trench. Tears dropping suddenly, no buckets into well, more spring fountain lizard system of concrete aqueducts dragging with gravity. People descending like the pulp of your mouth, what science fiction but the kind containing yours, picking at it, nothing friskier, child understanding nothing but ample grace and no language beautiful as yours, dream, rightful murder on the Mizrahim, own metal straw 5 mile long for milkshake, no water reach and wash.
A knock and open the gates, the portal door, entry and point of egress. 3 speakers and baby as a symbol, purple wrapped and winged. Father pink spider capped with twists. Undecided whiner shriek from void, a sperm spore green dust eye itcher. I'm understanding Armstrong finds extent of empathy, am trying to beware a catch in the self-righteous beyond and above it. Seated indoor, comfortable, full belly, timeline tugged, yanked by moist, wet, libidinal.
Folded in half for touch and sun pleasure. Make meat mist. Immediately before clocking, causing vacant stare. Eye drip. Cradled white leather, rich brown shade, mocking organ, joined by blue butter whipped from open-faced fridge. Haint like projection, confined to quarters, unkempt, laid up, loop, dooming, draining dopamine bars, foot grazes sandy floor. Clustering mouth cherries, waiting for Staten Island ferry, making sugar castles. Half touching, tried to unfocus Laminer Valley, feeling like the time shares XL windows, dining in the arms of wet threads.
Dining in the arms of, sent to a fundamental law of self-soothing behavior. For royalties come charity, taking re-experienceable loss. Rib crawl, concretized, clad, como artist, a con man, a costume slip, out of skin, change scene, adopt new name, foot drag, fulcrum, momentum, bring to ground, brick stained clothes, no sympathy for cocoa cake, Ferga and downdrafts, posture, another tragedy.
Drums, colliding in the sky, starry hills
Beneath the rotting panel and spark of guns that seemed without direction. At night, sheep, indelible marks, mist of Gibran's art, pasty, pulled, dry, wiping, Sisyphean tears from dumb things said, plowing through a crowd with the extras, clean electric, plastic glasses, mimic obsidian disc.
Smoking mirror, return to space, open field for several four-wall tri-corner, crescent keyhole viewed raw kickback laser-like, lifting, fluttering, growing feathers, same 24 new eyes, language spoken, given gift of language spoken, spend 6.5 hours, skip 900 clips, leave and eat seafood beef, sauce cream, martini vodka, too much move, waterfront top-down sequin, cathedral hung from hood of ivy, dogwood, and shady, willing, follow the money to its point of departure, tell mothers and soldiers, found new uniform 10XT over whatever I'm wearing, couched, waiting on spinning fish to vibrate body, melt walls, glorious skin-free, blue on the inside, like some kind of lightning vapor, touch cross room, raise break cloud, jump off ground.
Touch them and see if heated. Could probably stand few more seconds, 6 hours, 42 minutes, stretched over 180 days or so. Leaves nice undefined gelatinous math puff jiggly one cool sweet treated packaged plastic dim and digidark fueling chinlit supplicants taking word stance empty warm safe fed room well lit 6 pairs north window 1 light green 1820 springtime clouds cover space black sock blue with blue stripe.
Back floating, lung puff, bruise, cankerous, habit of crushing grip, breaking bone and big toe, make it hard to hobble. Continue fluid motion, give dusk roads over cuneiform guns. In childhood, avant-gardes are non-indexical. What will it be? It shall be the day that bass keys split the resonance. Earthbound ghost moans a living. Message and layering, quantity, duration. Shared memory of shouts and distance. Wave crash against ship, creek. Spell on water, turn you different. Whale mouth, wormhole through beast belly. Inner workings, wet, sweaty, grind, crushing with raw strength plus acid. Seeing hazmats between the houses. Looking at the used surreal.
Apprehending the man with the dirty wrapper at the edge of the tracks, who discarded its crumbs into already littered. Strategy to cite his attitude, an officer, want to follow with her mind made up after.
See a sense of irony, this is all that's realistic.
Hasn't been the politics naming heart of hearts. Can't fit micro to the macro
scale. Psychic skill plus my lumbar says block.
It's real cathexis.
It's fanned here. Why do we dream so blonde a cloth of cloud? I have resigned from volunteering the president. The president blondes fix the cable of our feeling.
Halakhic of the unsaid who flicker drumskin buzzer, plus ancient Phrygian eyes in the remit of brinkmanship, a composite foreignness.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Wow.